Oh, Don Pittis, what a... If you could stick your tongue any further up the government's fucking ass, you could probably touch their tonsils. If, metaphorically speaking, of course, because the government is not a person. It's a mystical entity. It's a mystical construct. Something along the lines of the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, right? And many deities in the past. That's why it's a religion like all others. Or a cult, whichever you prefer. Anyways, analysis, CBC News Business. Tax policy on legal pot sales must squeeze out the criminal competition, Don Pittis. So he's basically admitting, he's literally, let me read on the sub part of this headline. For legal sellers to corner the market, the marijuana market, revenue collection needs to take a back seat. So, like I say, central planners, they're not looking to give you any kind of freedoms or liberties so you can smoke or grow, cultivate, consume a plant. No, or use it for medicinal purposes. No, it's all about taking over the revenue stream and the revenue sources. That's what it's always been about. No fucking central planner, no one that goes into a position, right, that has the pretense, which is, it's a false pretense, by the way. And like I said, look at my past videos and it's easily proven that there's no such thing as legitimate government. But under the false pretense that they're authority, that they have legal authority over you, it's always done under the guise of, oh, we're doing this for your freedom. But it's not. It's all about, these are people, like I say, they want to go into positions that want to control and dominate entire populations, right? So think of the mindset, think of the psychology of that kind of person. Do you want to do that? No. So, they don't think like you. They think completely different than you. They're control freaks. Many of them, sociopaths. But even the headline, they're so emboldened now. They think this central planning model is so entrenched, just like with everything. They're false securities. That bubble is going to get burst just like the housing market in Canada at some stage of the game. But they're literally so emboldened that they're willing to admit that the tax policy must squeeze out the criminal competition. And really, how is it criminal? They're saying that all of a sudden, think about it. Magic, if you lobby the government or if you ask the government for permission and you get a license through the government, which are, like I said, the kind of people that live under the guise that they have authority over you and steal from you on a constant basis. If you ask them, then you're not a criminal if you sell, grow, or cultivate or consume plants like marijuana. But if you don't ask your central planning masters or overlords for permission, you're a criminal. Nothing has changed except that you didn't ask some corrupt politician for permission to do something that, think about marijuana, selling marijuana or growing marijuana. Name anything. And there's a comment section on these videos for a reason. If you can come up with one excuse or one reason, what about the marijuana industry is not voluntary, right? So if someone grows a plant, that's done voluntarily. And I know lots of people have done it and grown many, 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 many plants. A whole lot of plants. All voluntarily. Someone wants to buy it off them, usually they go to their house, their place of residence, or wherever the hell or a dispensary, and they purchase it and they consume it. And it's all done voluntarily, right? And because each other has to hold each other to account, there's no central planner involved. The price, like I even know myself from in the late 70s and early 80s when I was a young man, or actually I should say early 80s and the late 70s. I wasn't even into my double-digit years yet. But anyways, it's still weed or hash, $10 a gram. Today, still $10 a gram. No tax, no extra infrastructure, no bunch of... Well, I mean, there's some middlemen, but you didn't have to. You could bypass middlemen because, like I said, there was no central planner, there was no licensing. But they're willing... The people now that were clamoring for legalization, are you really that willing to allow all these central planners to take over and create? And it'll be bureaucratic, but what they're saying is just like the one thing that is kind of funny because even drug dealers the old day, but it was voluntarily, but is, you don't start out charging your customers too expensive. You wait until they're hooked, but because marijuana doesn't have that pretense, that I guess it doesn't even work that way. So, yeah, that's a bad example. Sorry for even bringing that up. But they're basically suggesting, Don Pittis and all these experts. Well, let me go down and read a little bit so we can reference a little bit more of the article. As legalization of recreational cannabis approaches, there have already been suggestions on how to spend all that juicy revenue from its taxation. But experts who study the market say, hold on, the first job for government is to control the market. Experts that study the market. Who are these fucking experts? I don't know. They didn't put any links to any reference material or people, right? But, I mean, we will read on and there might be something there. But it'd be just, what, some of these fucking commercial grow-ups? Or ones that are lobbying the government to squeeze out the competition. But yeah, so experts who study the market say, hold on, the first job for government is to control the market. So once again, it all comes down to what kind of a person. Obviously, you're not a free market type of person if you're asking government to take over the industry. It means you're a crony corporatist, right? You're a fascist, more or less. You're looking to use the mysticism of government and force and coercion as a means to squish your competition. Even worse than the mafia. The mafia had that same kind of intention, but they didn't have any legitimacy or authority to do so. They had to fucking, force or actually use a lot of, violence towards each gang to even come to any kind of consensus, right? The government uses the power of mysticism, the power of controlling your mind, the power of indoctrination, right? But this is hilarious that anyone would even suggest that the government should completely control and dominate the market for these crony fucks. And then, well, once we've controlled and dominated the market, well, then we can start raising taxes on them. And we'll start out slowly, right? Just like the boiling frog experience. Turn that water up just a little bit. Then they won't notice that they're being boiled alive, the people, the sheeple. So sad. Governments are Johnny-come-latelys to an existing recreational pot business worth billions of dollars a year, according to a report last year from CIBC chief economist Avery Shenfield. Exactly how many billions is tough to calculate because criminals don't publish annual reports. Criminals, they're not going to tell the government because they know the government. They're not the criminals. They're actually good people, but they're not going to tell the government because the government will look to fucking steal from them, right? Duh. Plus, because it's illegal. Holy shit, man. Don, you're such a fucking loser. Even the stuff you put forth. Look at these old, but like I say, and I keep seeing these old fucking men. Just go fucking retire. Get the fuck out of the fucking goddamn equation, will you already? Just go the fuck somewhere. Find a fucking cottage somewhere in the Kawarthas and just piss the hell off. Because you're not fucking helping anyone, you fucking bunch of losers. A study from the International Journal of Drug Policy put the existing size of the business in Canada at about $3 billion a year, but extrapolating from post-legalization, Colorado suggests that Canadian dollar figure could put pot sales closer to or near to $10 billion. But anyways, like I said, I'm not even going to finish reading the rest of this stuff because I know where Don Pittis goes. I know where his mindset is. He's such a fucking dogmatist, such an ideologue for the state. But in reality, I mean, listen to what he's saying. And like I said, I'll put a link to this at the bottom of in my video so you can read it for yourself. But they're literally saying is... Let's use force, subjugation, collectivism, and the mysticism and the force of government to squeeze out any competition so that we can take and dominate the industry and do what we've done to cigarettes, alcohol, healthcare, make everything more expensive, more encumbersome, more bureaucratic, and shittier service. I mean, think about it. If you deal with any of the fucking services put forth by government, you just can't stand to be in these places for even fucking 2 minutes at a time because you look what they do to it. Because, like I say, there's no personal accountability or no personal responsibility when you put that fucking power into the hands of a bunch of central planning control freaks. Yeah, this legalization thing is not going to work out near as good as especially a lot of you younger people that jumped into the fray and voted for the Liberals under the guise of, ooh, I'm going to be legally allowed to do shit, right? Asking your masters for permission or something. Yeah, well, that means you legitimize them being your masters when you're going to have to suffer the consequences of accepting masters. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.